Bart Simpson is the kind-hearted, energetic prankster of Springfield. But don't be fooled, his life is actually more depressing than you think. Let me explain. Victim of child abuse. He's a victim of child abuse. Since this show began, one disturbing element that stuck around: Homer's regular choking of Bart. This pattern of abuse dates all the way back to Bart's earliest appearances on the Tracy Ullman Show, where the gag usually follows a predictable setup. Bart pushes Homer's buttons with a wisecrack.
You're alive!
No thanks to you, Homer.
Homer snaps with a cry of,
Are you little?
he grabs Bart by the neck.
Now, Homer, please. The boy's just had a very serious operation.
All right.
What's really depressing about this is the fact that the show itself isn't oblivious to the dark nature of this running joke. In fact, in the season 11 mockumentary-style episode, Behind the Laughter, it's bluntly called child abuse.
Hey, that's funny. And that horrible act of child abuse became one of our most beloved running gags.
Season 22's episode Love is a Mini Strangled Thing goes even further, with Homer admitting to other fathers that he chokes Bart. Poor Bart, getting his neck squeezed by Homer's ginormous hands on many occasions, must surely have grave damages.
So that's where Bart has all those broken tracheal bones. Tight bow tie my ass.
This is just a long-term damage from years of abuse from Homer. Another really disturbing thing about this is that Marge and Lisa turn a blind eye to the obvious child abuse that Bart suffers from at the hands of his father. Marge doesn't seem afraid of him, and Lisa seems intelligent enough to realize Bart is a victim of abuse. So why has no one reported him for it? Oh boy, does it get dark, because getting strangled by his own father isn't the worst abuse Bart has suffered. In the season 1 episode, Creeps of Wrath, Bart suffers child abuse at the hands of these wine merchants. He ends up at a vineyard owned by Caesar and Ugalin, where his treatment is far from pleasant. He's subjected to grueling labor, forced to carry heavy buckets of water, crushed grapes, and is denied food, even having to sleep on the floor.
Ungrateful swine! We give you food, we give you shelter, and this is how you repay us!
Bart getting abused is depressing if you really think about it, but it gets even more depressing when you look at his relationship dynamic with his own family. Family.
You little!
Lisa, no! Your hands are too weak. No.
It's subtle, but Bart is the unfavored child. You can see this in his nuanced bond with Marge. Their dynamic is explored in depth in episodes like Marge Be Not Proud, Bart the Mother, and Marge's Son Poisoning. Marge knows Bart is often a troublemaker, and while she scolds him for his antics, she also believes he has a unique spark, calling him her special little guy. She tries her best to connect with him, even if she doesn't always grasp what drives his behavior. Marge stands up for Bart when others misjudge him, like defending him to Mrs. Van Houten in Homer Defined, or to the detective in Marge Be Not Proud.
That's crazy. Bart's not a shoplifter. He's just a little boy.
But when Bart truly crosses the line, like shoplifting or harming an innocent animal, her disappointment is profound, reflecting her faith that he has limits. And Bart tries so hard to please her, but when he messes up and she flips out, he gets depressed.
Good night.
It's not only Marge that gets him more depressed than you think. His turbulent relationship with Homer has traumatized him to the point of feeling low self-worth. There's a subtle but unsettling implication that Bart has grown so used to Homer's anger that he almost expects to be strangled whenever he messes up. In one instance, after accidentally dropping Ned Flanders' prized fishing rod while they're fishing together, Bart instinctively begins choking his own neck, imitating Homer's strangling, only to be surprised when Flanders doesn't react that way.
Oh no, my good pole!
You're not strangling me.
What the? Why, strangling's only good for...
The tension between Bart and Homer even reaches a breaking point in the Simpsons movie when Homer's reckless pollution of Lake Springfield causes the EPA to seal the town under a massive dome. Bart, feeling deeply disappointed and hurt, expresses his frustration by admitting he sometimes wishes Flanders were his father instead. This rare moment exposes the underlying strain and longing for stability in Bart's relationship with Homer. Bart is 10 years old, struggles with ADHD, and is failing school despite his best efforts. When he comes home, his dad is probably at Moe's getting drunk. Now, for his complex relationship with Lisa. Beyond the sister-brother love, Lisa doesn't like Bart all that much. Her opinion of him is very, very low, and she likely doesn't approve but doesn't think about it much. His resentment towards her is another thing to note, first explored in Lisa's first word. Bart, who craves recognition, feels overlooked once Lisa arrives and begins excelling at everything. Her constant praise from adults only fuels Bart's jealousy as he struggles to keep up. But despite these feelings, Bart loves Lisa deeply and will defend her when needed. What makes it hard is the fact that while his sister gets all the praise in the world for being gifted and talented, Bart has to deal with being considered a failure. The thing is, Marge isn't going to change, Homer isn't going to change, Lisa isn't going to change, and holding a grudge against his own family isn't good for his own personal well-being. So, the best he can do is forgive and move on.
Stupid family.
Or become a kid of mischief. Kid of mischief. There are so many times mischief befalls Bart, which is to be expected based on how mischievous he is. One iconic moment was in the season 8 episode, My Sister, My Sitter. Marge tasks Lisa with babysitting Bart and Maggie while she leaves the house with Homer, so Bart, unhappy with the decision, decides to make Lisa's job harder by doing many unspeakable things, like putting caffeine in Maggie's ice cream, eating like a baby, scattering the house, and making meaningless orders on the phone. Lisa, who is filled with rage at her brother's aptitude, accidentally knocked him down the stairs while chasing him around the house.
Almost. Oh, so close.
She offered to take Bart to the hospital, but he preferred locking himself in his room and making the injuries worse in order to show his parents and paint Lisa as the bad babysitter.
And you'll never babysit again!
That didn't end well for Bart as he became unconscious and his injuries were treated the next day. His mischievous ways backfiring on him doesn't end here. In Bart the Daredevil, Bart's attempt to jump a car on his skateboard results in a broken arm. In Round Springfield, Bart's usual mischievous antics take a painful turn when he accidentally swallows a spiky metal ring hidden in his breakfast cereal. Complaining of severe stomach pain, he's initially dismissed by Homer and Marge, who assume he's faking it to avoid a test at school. However, as the day progresses, Bart's pain worsens, leading to an emergency hospital visit where he undergoes surgery to remove his appendix. This episode went far to show how Bart's reputation for trickery sometimes leaves him struggling to be taken seriously even in real emergencies. And his mischievous ways could be the reason why the producers of the show make it so that Bart has no hope for the future where he isn't depressed. No hope for the future. When he's 40 years old in Holidays of Future Past, Bart is divorced and living at Springfield Elementary. Bart then finds out that his ex-wife Jenda has gotten over him and is with another man now, so he gets depressed, asking Homer to take care of his kids while he's sulking in the shadows.
Christmas with you is gonna suck! You're wrong. This is gonna be your best Christmas ever!
When he's 41 years old in Days of Future Future, Bart is working at a theme park where dinosaurs perform tricks. His ex-wife Jenda is now dating an alien called Jerry, but Bart can't seem to get over his first love, Jenda. He tries to forget her by flirting and seducing other ladies, which turns him into a playboy. Jerry leaves Jenda and Bart decides to get back to Jenda and give their failing relationship a final chance, only for him to realize that he is no longer in love with her again. He ends a relationship once and for all. Turns out that this is just a conformity to make Bart get over his ex-wife as Bart wakes up in a facility freed of his love sickness. At 43 years old in Bart to the Future, Bart loses his job at the theme park and is now living with an old shark while his sister is the President of the United States. The only time his future seems bright is when he's almost 50 in Itchy and Scratchy the movie. Bart gets his acts together and is made a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He gets to spend more time and bond well with Homer as they watch the Itchy Scratchy movie together. The one time Bart gets to have a future that isn't as depressing, the episode gets hit with not being canon. That's sad. But what's sadder is not subscribing to my channel for more iconic content about The Simpsons, checking out the video on your screen.